Japan has become an increasingly popular country to visit in recent years. But why? Well, with the yen at an all-time low, paired with the uniqueness of the country in general, it's no surprise more and more people are interested in the idea of visiting. The country's unique culture, delicious meals, interesting architecture, and breathtaking scenery make it a perfect destination to escape from Western traditions and have an adventure in a new landscape. My name's William, and I'm going to share with you my own 2-week adventure in Japan, and hopefully after you hear both my positive and negative stories, from getting violated by a bidet to getting honored by the wildlife, then you will understand just why Japan is more and more popular to visit. Even though this has been planned for quite a bit, even to the point of having a presentation, a calendar, and a group chat, no trip is perfect, and we definitely had our share of issues. But first, let's talk about the good. To speed run through my trip, we started off with having 6 nights in Tokyo, 2 nights at Mount Fuji, 3 nights of Kyoto, and the last 4 nights in Osaka, which pretty much put us at a 2-week-long trip. We visited a ton of places while we were in Japan, and I won't bore you with all the details, but I'll summarize each place starting with Tokyo. Major areas we visited while we were in Tokyo were Shibuya, Shinjuku, Minato, Sumida, and finally Tokyo Bay. Okay, finally jumping into the trip itself, it was just amazing to land in Tokyo and get to enjoy the nightlife. It was really incredible and something that you have to just experience for yourself. I mean, it's just so alive in Tokyo. We decided to just grab some food, head to bed a little bit early, and woke up way too early just because the sun is up. If just walking around the city and exploring is the thing that you love to do, then Shibuya and Shinjuku both are going to be fantastic. There's tons of restaurants to see, tons of shopping to do, and there's just a bunch of nostalgia that you're going to have if you grew up on any of the same things that I did. Both Shibuya and Shinjuku really felt like the heart of Tokyo for me. It was so cool. I mean, where else are you going to go to get directions from a robot? On top of all of that, the crowds of people in Tokyo are really going to make it come to life. The atmosphere is amazing and so electric. I really loved being there. The food was delicious and the nightlife in Tokyo was outstanding. Next up in Tokyo was Sumida City, most famously known for the giant structure that is the Tokyo Skytree. There's the Pokemon Center there, they have Studio Ghibli themed things, and they have an anime store, of course. Plus, tons of other shops and stores for anything you're really interested in. You can also go to the very top to do any dances that you'd like, and the dances definitely continue as we made our way to Akihabara. This area is really cool overall for the arcades, but my preference was Sensoji, where we got to see the oldest temple in Tokyo. Aside from just getting a little taste of the older culture in Tokyo, you also get to see tons and tons of shops that are around this area, and it's really cool. My friends and I tried some takoyaki, which was delicious, and of course I love seeing the older architecture in Tokyo. Afterwards, we went to see the very iconic Eiffel Tower. Tokyo Tower. You can see how I got confused. You get to see some stunning views from the top, and it's really nice to be there. Other than that, not too much. Minato in general is super cool because I'm a big Harry Potter fan, and there is a station that is themed just for Harry Potter. And of course, it's magical. Naturally, I had to get myself sorted, and I am Gryffindor. If you're not, stop watching this video. This area was our last true moments exploring the city before we finally headed to Disney. The last segment of our Tokyo trip was Disney, and of course we had a great time. After all, it is Disney. While we were in Disney, we got to show off our cool Monsters Inc. hats, before I was reminded of what it means to be a black man in Japan.
They love me.
For the most part. But going back to Disney, Disney is split into 2 parks, Disney Sea and Disneyland. Disney Sea is definitely more unique and something that you will not find anywhere else in the world, while Disneyland is Disneyland. You can find that in California, Florida, and Paris. So if you're looking for something unique, definitely go to Disney Sea. But regardless, you are going to have a great time because it's Disney. And Disney was definitely a great way to end our Tokyo trip before we finally set our sights on Fuji. But first, we had to get there. Traveling in Japan from city to city with luggage is generally a hassle, but not impossible. From Tokyo to Fuji, we decided to use the Forward Luggaging service, which is exactly how it sounds, where you get to send your luggage to the next hotel. It takes about 1 to 2 days to get there and costs about $40, so if you have the extra cash, it's probably worth avoiding carrying your luggage up and down the stairs. The trip to Fuji and finally seeing it for the first time yourself was breathtaking, but rather than tell you, I'll let you see for yourself. Pictures will never do nature justice, and Fuji is no exception. Being there helped me find
Inner peace.
And during our inner peace journey in Fuji, we stayed near Lake Kawaguchiko for 2 nights, checked out an onsen, rode our bikes, and also saw a theme park which had some Naruto theme, which was super cool to me because I'm a big anime fan. Overall, Fuji was like a childhood dream. From the anime to the bike rides to just relaxing, I really did feel like a kid again. After Fuji, we were on our way to the cultural city of Kyoto. Kyoto, much like Tokyo, is a place to just get lost and explore the city. But instead of skyscrapers and huge crowds, you'll be met with the rich culture and still huge crowds. While we were in Kyoto, we had to check out the Fuji Inamari Shrine. It's a hike that you have to wake up early in order to avoid the huge crowds, but it's totally worth doing, at least the first half. I would recommend doing that so you could see the nice view of the city, and if you're not a hiker, skip the last part. Then we took a day trip to Nara, where we were greeted very respectfully by the deer. They're really only after your food, but it's a nice thought that you're being honored by them. They will also attack you because they're only after your food, so you gotta watch out for their bites. But after Nara, we headed back to Kyoto, which we got to do my favorite activity of the entire trip, which was the tea ceremony. The Maikoya Tea Ceremony was my favorite because we got to dress up in traditional kimonos, we learned about the tea ceremony itself, and we also got the chance to make our own tea. They even let us wear the kimonos all day, which made me feel like a main character. And walking around the town in kimonos is something that I definitely look forward to the next time I visit Japan. After Kyoto, we headed to our last stop of our trip, which was Osaka. To start, Osaka is not just another big city in Japan. Aside from the amazing sky views, Osaka also has a nightlife that matches Tokyo and the crowd to match as well. But the biggest highlight is still Universal Studios. While I've never been to the Mario Land in the US, I fell in love with the one here. A common theme from this entire trip was a nostalgic feeling whenever something from my childhood was brought up, and this was no exception. Everything about this theme park felt perfect, and it was a fantastic way to end 2 weeks in Japan. Okay, before I say my goodbyes, I have the moment you've been waiting for, which is the cost breakdown. Here's the cost of what 2 weeks looks like in Japan. The yen was literally at the lowest it's been in the last 30 years, and it doesn't look like that's going to change anytime soon. Though conversion rates won't drastically change the cost of your trip, it could make a little bit of a difference here and there. For traveling anywhere, you have to consider the major costs, so
let me break it down for you, Mark.
The major costs, in my opinion, are transportations, hotels, food, shopping, and activities. I estimated around $3,000 to $4,000 per person, and that's close to around what this trip came out to be. We went a bit fancy in some areas and cheap in other areas, so just keep in mind what type of trip you want for yourself. Despite what Duolingo may say, Japan is not small, and there's no way I could have talked about everything in a single video or we would be here forever. This is my first video, hopefully out of many, and I really appreciate you watching until the end. If you skipped up to this part, then if you subscribe, I'll forgive you. I plan on sharing lots of my adventures and snippets of my life that I find interesting, so I will hopefully see you in the next video.